The fluorescent lights of the corner cafe buzzed like dying wasps, casting sickly yellow shadows across the laminate tables that hadn't been replaced since the 90s. Rain hammered the windows in sheets, turning the Brooklyn street outside into a watercolor blur of taxi lights and neon bodega signs. Martha gripped her coffee mug hard enough to feel the chip in the ceramic bite into her palm, the liquid inside long since gone cold. But she needed something to hold on to, something that wasn't the panic climbing her throat. Gabriella had cornered her at the diner 3 days ago, practically vibrating with excitement. "Just one date, Martha. My friend from yoga needs someone genuine. Low pressure. You spend too much time hiding in that apartment." Low pressure. The phrase tasted like ash now as Martha caught her reflection in the rain-dark window. She'd orchestrated this carefully, chosen the most damaged sweater in her closet, faded gray fleece, 3 sizes too large, with pulls in the fabric and a stain on the sleeve she couldn't even remember acquiring. Her hair hung limp and unwashed around her face. No makeup. Not even concealer for the dark circles that came from working double shifts and lying awake calculating which bills she could skip this month. The jeans had holes worn through at the knees, not from fashion but from scrubbing the diner floor on her hands and knees when the mop broke and her boss refused to buy a new one. She wanted him to walk in, take one look at this disaster, and manufacture an excuse before his coat was even off. She needed him to confirm what she already knew, that hoping for connection was just another luxury she couldn't afford. The cafe reeked of burned coffee and yesterday's pastries mixed with the wet wool smell of coats steaming by the radiator. A mother argued with a screaming toddler near the bathroom. Someone's phone played the same notification sound 17 times without being silenced. The overhead light above Martha's booth flickered at irregular intervals, like even the electricity was uncertain about staying. Before we dive in, please subscribe by telling me where you are watching from. Now, let's begin. Enzo slides into the booth across from Martha with the kind of fluid confidence that makes expensive watches look cheap. He dismisses his bodyguards to the counter with nothing more than a flick of 2 fingers, and suddenly the diner feels smaller, the air thicker. Martha's pulse hammers in her throat as she fumbles for an excuse, any excuse, to bolt from this nightmare Gabriella has orchestrated. But Enzo speaks first. "The sweater is a nice touch," he says, his voice low and amused, like he's discovered something delightful. 3 sizes too big. Strategic stain placement on the shoulder ketchup, I'm guessing. His eyes travel over her with the precision of a jeweler examining a stone. "But you missed something. Martha." Her breath catches. Martha. Not whatever fake name Gabriella promised to use. Her real name, spoken like he's known it all along. He leans forward, and she can smell his cologne, something dark and woody that probably costs more than her monthly rent. "You can't hide those eyes. You look at the world like you're ready to fight it and save it at the same time. That's what caught me." His lips curve into a smile that's equal parts dangerous and magnetic. "That fire. That's not something you can disguise with thrift store camouflage." Martha's stomach drops through the cracked vinyl seat. Every carefully constructed wall she'd built crumbles under his gaze. He sees her, actually sees her, and somehow that's more terrifying than anything she'd imagined. "You wore this disguise because you're scared," Enzo continues, his tone softening just enough to make her heart stutter. "I understand fear. I've lived with it, conquered it, made it my weapon." He pauses, letting his words sink in like stones into water. "But you should know something. I don't scare easily, and I definitely don't scare away." His hand reaches across the table, palm up, an invitation, a challenge, a promise. The gesture is simple, but it feels weighted with inevitability, like watching a door close that can never be reopened. "I'm Enzo," he says, his dark eyes locked on hers with unsettling intensity. "And you're already mine." Before Martha can form words, movement catches her peripheral vision. One of Enzo's bodyguards materializes beside their table, his hulking frame blocking out the afternoon light. He leans down, whispering urgently in rapid Italian words, tumbling over each other too fast for Martha to catch more than fragments. Russo, warehouse. Subito. Enzo's expression doesn't change. Not a single muscle in his face betrays emotion. But Martha sees it, the way his jaw tightens, almost imperceptibly. The way his fingers pause mid-gesture against his espresso cup. Then the back entrance explodes open. A man stumbles through, shirt torn, face streaked with blood that looks too bright under the cafe's warm lighting. His eyes are wild, desperate, scanning the room until they lock on Enzo. Valenti. The word comes out half shout, half gasp. Russo hit the warehouse. 3 of our guys are down, and he doesn't finish. Enzo's bodyguard moves with shocking speed for someone his size, hand clamping around the bleeding man's throat, dragging him backward toward the kitchen. The man's feet scramble against the tile floor, leaving scuff marks. The remaining cafe patrons don't need further invitation. Chairs scrape. A woman's purse hits the floor, contents scattering as people rush for the front exit. The barista has already disappeared through a side door. Martha's instinct screams the same message. Run, now. She pushes her chair back, muscles tensing to bolt. But before she can stand, Enzo's hand circles her wrist. Not squeezing, not painful, just there. Completely immovable, like her bones have been encased in warm steel. Please don't run, he says quietly. The contrast terrifies her more than shouting would have his voice so calm, so steady, while chaos erupts around them. While his world quite literally bleeds into this moment. I need you to stay exactly where you are, Martha. His thumb strokes across her racing pulse, feeling her terror like reading Braille. This will be handled in 30 seconds. Shouting erupts from the kitchen. Italian curses. A crash. Then a single gunshot that makes Martha flinch violently. Enzo's expression never flickers. His thumb continues its gentle rhythm against her wrist. 20 seconds now. The cafe feels smaller now, suffocating. Martha's pulse hammers in her ears as she stares at the man across from her. This stranger, who somehow knows things he shouldn't, who orchestrated their meeting like she was some kind of target. The realization makes her skin crawl. Who the hell are you? She demands, yanking her wrist free from his grip. Her voice comes out sharper than she intended, but fear does that. Gabriella said you were a businessman, she said. Gabriella did exactly what I asked her to do. Enzo interrupts, his tone gentle but immovable, like he's trying to calm a spooked animal. I needed a way to meet you that wouldn't terrify you immediately. Clearly, I underestimated how quickly my world would intrude. Martha's stomach drops. You asked her? You've been planning this? The words taste bitter. Every conversation, every smile Gabriella gave her while pushing this date, all of it orchestrated. For 5 weeks, Enzo admits without shame, leaning back in his chair like he's discussing the weather. Since I watched you step between that homeless veteran and the teenagers mocking him outside your diner. You were half their size, and you faced them down like a lioness protecting her cub. The memory flashes through Martha's mind, 3 kids on skateboards, circling old Frank, calling him crazy, laughing when he flinched. She'd been taking out the trash when she heard it. Didn't even think before stepping in. You were watching me? Her voice climbs an octave. That was over a month ago. You've been stalking me, protecting you. Enzo corrects, but there's no apology in his eyes. Do you know what neighborhood that is, after dark? What could have happened to you? I can take care of myself. I know. Something shifts in his expression, respect mixed with something darker, more possessive. That's why I'm here. Why I needed to meet you properly. Not in some alley where you're defending strangers or working yourself to exhaustion in a diner that pays you in pennies. Martha stands abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. You're insane. But even as she says it, she feels the weight of those men at the doors, remembers the blood on that stranger's face, the cold efficiency of violence she just witnessed. Sit down, Martha. It's not a request. Martha's voice cracks as she finally asks the question burning through her chest. Why me? You clearly have money, power, and you're... She gestures vaguely at his face, frustrated by how unfair this entire situation is. You could have anyone. Why stalk a broke waitress who wears trash? The words hang between them, sharp and accusatory. She expects him to laugh, to deflect, to give her some patronizing answer about her being different or special. In that meaningless way men always claim when they're lying. Instead, Enzo's expression shifts into something that looks almost vulnerable, and it catches her completely off guard. Because everyone in my world wears masks, Martha. His voice is quiet, stripped of its usual commanding edge. They want my power, my name, my protection. They perform. They calculate every word, every smile, every touch. He takes a step closer, and she finds herself unable to move. You gave away money you desperately needed because someone else needed it more. You sing Billie Holiday when you mop floors at 2 a.m. You're kind when kindness costs you everything. You're real in a world of beautiful, hollow people. Martha feels something tighten in her throat. She wants to interrupt, to tell him he's romanticizing poverty, but he continues before she can form the words. I run a criminal empire, Martha. I make decisions that keep people safe and destroy others. I've done things that would horrify you, things I can never undo, never apologize for. His jaw tightens, but when I look at you, I see everything I'm not. Goodness, authenticity, hope. You're the only person who makes me want to build something better than what I inherited. Tears prick her eyes, and she hates herself for it. Hates that his words are working their way past her defenses. So I'm what? Your redemption project? The accusation comes out bitter, self-protective. No. The word is fierce, almost desperate. You're my reason to want redemption. Martha stares at him, this dangerous man with his expensive suit and his blood-stained empire, and realizes with horror that some foolish part of her believes him. That same part that gives away her last $20. That still believes in goodness, despite everything that part wants to reach for him. Martha's hand freezes on the cafe door handle. The words hit her like ice water. You can't go home. She spins around, her pulse hammering. Excuse me? Enzo stands near their table, his posture rigid, hands loose at his sides. The easy warmth from moments ago has vanished, replaced by something harder, colder. That man who interrupted us? He announced my name in public. Russo's people have eyes everywhere. By now, they know I was here, and they know I was with you. Martha's breath catches. The way that man had said Enzo's name, like a pronouncement, like a warning. She'd felt the shift in the air, seen how every muscle in Enzo's body had gone taut. Your apartment has a broken lock on the ground floor window, Enzo continues, his voice flat and deliberate. Your landlord hasn't fixed the back gate in 8 months. You're on a ground floor unit, Martha. I know because I've had men watching your building to make sure you stayed safe before I could meet you properly. The words slam into her chest. Horror and fury twist together, making it hard to breathe. You've been watching my apartment? To protect you, Enzo says. And there's no apology in his tone, no softening. Just certainty. And it's a good thing I did. Because, as of 20 minutes ago, you became a target. Vittorio Russo will use you to get to me, if he can. Martha's mind reels. Target. Use you. The cafe suddenly feels too small, too exposed. She backs against the door, her voice rising. Then I'll go to the police. Enzo's laugh is sharp and bitter, cutting through the air like a blade. Half the precinct is on Russo's payroll, and the other half is on mine. The police can't protect you from what's coming, Martha. He takes a step closer, his gaze locked on hers with an intensity that steals her breath. But I can. The kitchen's heat gives way to the sharp bite of the alley's cold air. Martha's legs feel unsteady as Enzo guides her through the narrow passage, his palm warm and insistent against the small of her back. The touch sends contradictory signals through her nervous system warning and want tangled together in a way that makes no sense. 3 black SUVs sit like sleeping predators in the dim light, their engines purring. Men in dark suits materialized from shadows she hadn't noticed, their watchful presence making her skin prickle. This is real. This is actually happening. Enzo turns her to face him, and Martha finds herself trapped between his body and cold metal. His remaining eye holds hers with an intensity that makes breathing difficult. Here are your options. His voice is steady, controlled. 1. You come to my home. It's secure, guarded, and you'll have your own wing. You stay for 2 weeks while I eliminate the immediate threat and make it clear to Russo that touching you means war. You'll be safe, fed, and comfortable. Martha's throat constricts. Or you go back to your apartment and I station 4 armed guards outside your building. 24/7 for the next 6 months. They'll follow you to work, to the grocery store. Everywhere. You'll live under surveillance, and every person you interact with becomes a potential threat my men have to vet. The words land like physical blows. Her mind scrambles for another path. Any other path. Those aren't real choices. No. Something shifts in his expression. Regret, maybe, or grief. They're not. Because there's a third option. I do nothing, and you take your chances. But Russo's men are efficient, Martha. You'd have 3 days, maybe 4. His hand comes up to cup her cheek, and the gentleness of it nearly undoes her. His voice cracks just slightly. I will not let you die because I was selfish enough to want you. Choose the first option. Please. Martha stares up at him, and what she sees steals the breath from her lungs. Fear. Real, raw fear, in the face of a man who commands an empire built on violence. He's terrified not for himself, but for her. The realization settles somewhere deep in her chest, foreign and frightening and impossibly compelling. The SUV's tires crunched over gravel for what felt like an eternity. 40 minutes of silence, broken only by the hum of the engine and Martha's racing thoughts. When they finally passed through iron gates so massive they could have guarded a fortress, her breath caught. The estate stretched before her like something ripped from a fantasy, all stone and glass and impossibly perfect gardens, with guards stationed at intervals like sentinels protecting treasure. Enzo's mansion rose against the twilight sky, all old-world elegance and new money power. Martha pressed her face closer to the window, trying to comprehend the sheer scale of it. This wasn't just wealth. This was dynasty-level money. The kind that built empires and crushed opposition without breaking a sweat. Inside, everything gleamed. Marble floors, real marble. Not the cheap laminate from her apartment building stretched in every direction. Crystal chandeliers caught the fading sunlight and scattered it like diamonds. Enzo led her up a curved staircase that probably cost more than she'd earn in 5 years, his hand hovering near the small of her back without quite touching. The bedroom suite he showed her was bigger than her entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the gardens. A 4-poster bed dominated the space, draped in fabric so soft it looked like liquid. And the closet god. The closet was filled with clothes. Dozens of them. Dresses, blouses, jeans, all hanging in perfect rows with the tags still attached. All in her exact size. Martha's hands trembled as she touched a silk blouse the color of champagne. You bought all this before you even met me. I knew you'd need options, Enzo said, his voice maddeningly calm. I knew you'd be uncomfortable in what you wore to push me away. This isn't about changing you, Martha. It's about giving you the choice to see yourself the way I see you. He moved toward the door, each step measured and deliberate. Then he paused, his hand on the frame. Dinner is at 7 if you want to join me. If not, someone will bring you a tray. You're not a prisoner here, Martha. You're a guest. The only rule is that you don't leave the property without me. For your safety. The door clicked shut behind him, impossibly soft. Martha stood frozen for a long moment before her legs gave out. She collapsed onto the enormous bed, sinking into sheets that probably cost more than her car. Her chest felt tight, her mind spinning between terror and something far more dangerous, that tiny, treacherous spark of hope flickering in the darkness, whispering that maybe, just maybe, This gilded cage could feel like home. Martha stood under the rainfall shower for a full hour, letting water pressure she'd only dreamed about pound against her skin. She scrubbed away weeks of deliberate grime, the strategic neglect she'd cultivated like armor. The water ran gray, then clear, washing years of survival down the marble drain. When she finally stepped out and caught her reflection through the steam, she froze. The woman, staring back, was a stranger, or maybe someone she'd forgotten existed. The dove-gray dress hung in the closet like an invitation she wasn't sure she should accept. Soft fabric, perfect fit. The kind of elegant simplicity that whispered money without shouting it. She pulled it on. Left her hair down to dry, in waves she'd trained herself to hide. Every instinct screamed to reach for the grease, to smudge her eyeliner, to rebuild the walls that had kept her safe. Instead, she looked in the mirror and saw herself the version poverty and fear had taught her to bury. When she entered Enzo's private dining room at 7, he rose so fast his chair scraped against the floor. His expression shifted through emotions too quickly to name shock, hunger, something that looked dangerously close to reverence. "Martha," he breathed. "Don't." Her voice cracked on the single word. "Don't say I'm beautiful, or whatever you're thinking. I was thinking you look like yourself." Enzo pulled out her chair with careful hands. "The version of you that the world hasn't beaten down yet. That's who I fell for in the rain that day, the woman who still fights back." Dinner passed in careful conversation, elaborate courses that Martha barely tasted. Finally, between the main course and dessert, she set down her fork and admitted the truth she'd been circling all evening. "I'm still terrified," she said quietly. "Of you? Of this place? Of what happens when 2 weeks are up?" She forced herself to meet his eyes. "But I'm also..." The words stuck in her throat like confession. "I haven't felt safe in years, Enzo. And I hate that feeling safe is the most dangerous thing I could let myself feel." Across the table, Enzo's hand trembled slightly as he reached for his wine glass. He didn't offer empty promises or reassurances. He just nodded, understanding settling between them like an unspoken pact. Late that night, Martha finds Enzo in his study, staring at security monitors showing the estate perimeter. She knocks softly, and when he turns, the exhaustion and burden in his eyes nearly break her heart. "Do you ever regret it?" she asks. "This life?" "Every day," Enzo admits, his voice raw. "But I inherited duty, Martha, not choice. I can't walk away without leaving hundreds of people, vulnerable people my family has protected for generations. All I can do is try to be better than my father, less brutal than tradition demands." Martha crosses the room slowly, her heart hammering. "You said, I'm your reason to want redemption. What if I can't give you that? What if I'm just a broke waitress who can't fix whatever's broken in you?" Enzo stands, closing the distance between them. "You think you're broken, Martha. You think poverty made you less. But you're the strongest person I've ever met. You survived without help, without safety. And you still had kindness to spare. That's not broken. That's extraordinary." His hands frame her face with devastating gentleness, and Martha's breath catches. "To believe that maybe we're both less broken together than we are alone?" Martha rises on her toes and kisses him first, a kiss that tastes like surrender and choice, terror and trust, the death of her old life and the terrifying birth of something new. His arms wrap around her like she's precious, like she's worth protecting, like she matters more than anything else in his brutal world. When they break apart, Enzo rests his forehead against hers. "Stay with me. Not because you're afraid. Not because I'm protecting you. Stay because you want this, us, as much as I do." Martha takes a shaking breath, tears streaming down her face. "This is insane. This is the worst decision I've ever made." "I know," Enzo whispers, "but it's also the first time I've felt alive in 10 years. Martha pulls him back into another kiss, fierce and claiming. 2 weeks, then we figure out the rest. As they hold each other in the moonlit study, Martha realizes she's not surrendering. She's finally allowing herself to be found. The woman who wore ugly clothes to stay invisible has stepped into the light, and the mafia boss who rules through fear has found the only person who makes him want to deserve love. It's dangerous, it's reckless, it's imperfect, but for the first time in both their lives, it's real. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more incredible love stories.